Welcome viewers to this series of lectures on early India, and in this episode we would be talking about the settlement pattern in the Harappan civilization, which we otherwise have been talking about over the last 2-3 interactions that I had with you. And this time around we are going to sum it up in terms of what are the major takeaways that we get as we study the settlement pattern of the Harappan civilization. And over the last few interactions that I had with you, we spoke of the geographic, climatic, river system specificities related to important sites of Harappa, and also the cluster of sites in Harappan civilization. And the intent was to understand the logic behind the cluster of settlements that we get to see on Harappan map. If we view it from outside, we do find that there are quite a few sites that are clustered around particular area. Then there are vast stretches of land that remain uninhabited, and then again there are sporadic sites somewhere here and there. And by studying the geographic and climatic specificities of these regions or areas, what we also get to understand is that maybe that the climatic suitability or the natural attraction of these areas in terms of the resources that they had to offer to the Harappans perhaps are not sufficient to understand the pattern of settlement that we get to see in Harappa. So these are the things that we are trying to make sense of. What could be the logic? What could be the inner I would say constraints which pushed people of Harappa to settle down at a particular area or in particular region, or at times even in inhospitable conditions, which certainly are not very inviting for settling down so far as human settlement is concerned and so forth. So that is the intent with which we had begun this discussion. And this time around in today's discussion we shall try to sum it up, because we have discussed with respect to specific sites what are the geographical and climatic specificities of each of these sites, or at least the regions in which they come clustered as Harappan sites. So since this particular lecture is about summing it up, so having discussed the range of sites and settlements across the Harappan territory, so to say, this is the range and variety that we get, and that you can see on your slide. On the one hand, we have site like Mohenjo-daro, which comes across to be situated in a highly productive area in terms of fertility, in terms of closeness to perennial source of water, riverside, and therefore it happens to be a major wheat growing zone as well. And so it becomes very easy to ascribe to Mohenjo-daro in terms of its settlement logic, that it is a highly productive area. Wheat could be grown in a big way in Mohenjo-daro. It's convenient, and we all know Harappan civilization is a agrarian civilization with fair dose of trade, commerce and so forth, and Mohenjo-daro is also located close to major transaction routes that could have been operational during the period. So, from both points of view, be it agriculture, suitability of the soil and water resources for agricultural purpose, and also for trade and commercial purpose, Mohenjo-daro is locationally very appropriate. But as I said, that merely climatic conditions or geographical conditions may not be sufficient to account for the kind of distribution of sites that we get to see in Harappa. We also have sites like Sukta-Jandor. Now, this is on Makran Coast. Now, the Makran Coast, as you would understand, or as you would recall in our discussion, we said that it certainly is not a very hospitable kind of conditions that we encounter here. In fact, most of the rainfall that happens here, more than 50% of the rainfall, the rainwater just gushes into the sea, and it does no good to the agricultural potential of the soil that is found here. So, certainly one wouldn't settle down at Makran Coast, or sites cannot be understood with reference to its agrarian potential. Similarly, the wind is of very high speed, and overall climatic conditions certainly are not very attractive for settlement either, and yet we have site like Sukta-Jandor on Makran Coast. So why? So this is the advantage of studying settlement pattern of Harappa in this bit of detail, that it allows us to have some idea as to what must have been the constraining factors to why certain sites are at a location which otherwise are not naturally very attractive area given the technological state of affairs that existed during the Harappan period. So, it perhaps tells us that it could have, such sites could have served as a very convenient and appropriate port site, because even if you look at this site today, even the monsoon wind doesn't quite inhibit boats, simple boats to travel across the sea in this area and reach Muscat. So, you might have heard of the Gwadar port, which was very much in news in the recent times. India wanted to have some kind of a say or some kind of intervention there or some inputs there, so that its access to the Arabian Sea or to the Arabic world across the Arabian Sea could be ensured. Why? Because even in the monsoon months, when most of the sailing stops in the Arabian Sea on account of the direction of the wind, from Gwadar to Muscat, it's convenient to sail through, and therefore maybe it is the navigational, I would say navigational appropriateness which accorded importance to sites like Sukta-Jandor, and therefore Harappans as traders wanted to have settlement over here, because it was navigationally very appropriate area to be connected with say Mesopotamia or even Egypt across the Arabian Sea. And this also highlights the slice of trade, navigational and commercial activities that were very central to Harappan way of life, supplementing of course agriculture. You have Mohenjo-daro, very appropriate climatically. You have Sukta-Jandor, not at all appropriate climatically and from agricultural point of view, and yet we have this site, and we just got to know as to why Harappans could have been there because of navigational appropriateness. Similarly, we have Balakot, Nageshwar, these sites are important more than any other reasons. It could be the marine shells that could be processed here, because we have some debris of marine shells that probably were processed here. So, as we call it in historical writings or archaeological writings, it could have been a factory site. Now, factory should not lead you to believe the kind of imagery that it carries in the modern times, but factory site means something was worked upon, some tools, utensils, or some bangles or some other artifacts were manufactured here for commercial purpose, and it was not only for local consumption that they were making these sites. So, it's not a subsistence kind of a craft activity that we are talking about. These sites are here because they are the centers of the supplies of these items that Harappans were consuming across sites. So, it was perhaps transported from here to other centers as well. So, we are just looking at the range of sites that we get in Harappa, and specific details we have already discussed in the earlier interaction that I had with you. So, we also have Ropar. This is located in the upper Satluj area. Overall, very fertile area, and it's also very important from water transportation point of view. So, riverine transportation is what we are talking about, and as we all know that water is the cheapest source of or water is the cheapest mode of transportation, because of the Archimedes principle that when you immerse something in water, it loses its weight, so it becomes easy, particularly for bulk items, to be carried across long distance through riverways, and it could be Satluj, it could be Indus or whatever, from north to south along the flow. Bulk items like timber or some metals could be shipped across the riverway. So, as we know that being located in the upper Satluj area, sites like Ropar was very appropriate for transportation node, or it could have served as a node of water transportation in the Harappan times. Close to it is the Shivalik forests, which was a very rich source of timber. A range of trees which are used as timber are naturally occurring in Shivalik forests, and they were all used during the Harappan times. We have evidence of that. So, where was it being sourced from? It was sourced from upper Satluj area, sites like Ropar, through the waterways, and not only timber, but also we have this upper Satluj area serving as copper mining centers. So, at Kulu and Shimla, we have copper which could be sourced across the river way to different parts of Harappan civilization. So, Ropar as a site or the cluster of sites in the upper Satluj could be understood with reference to these needs that they were serving in the Harappan times. Similarly, moving beyond, we have site like Shortugai. Now, Shortugai is ideally not a site, Harappan site as such, but it appears more like a colony. People were not permanently living here, but occasionally, or some people might have been asked to be stationed here. Because it was facilitating exchange or transaction of some luxury items like procurement of precious stones and metals could be happening from this site, and that's why it is there. Otherwise, we cannot understand it with reference to its agrarian potential or its fertility or anything else. So, it is the appropriateness of the site as a transaction point from transaction point with areas that are outside Harappan domain. So, it could be procured through some means or the other from those areas, and at Shortugai such transactions were carried out, from where the Harappans transported it back to its various sites in the south. So, Shortugai is important from the point of view of procurement of precious stones and metals. This area, Shortugai area, would be the area of dry steppe. This is the area which is almost touching Central Asia of today. Confluence of Kokcha and Oxus River. This is the area that we are talking about, Central Asia, and semi-precious stones and precious stones like lapis lazuli, precious metals like gold, and also alluvial tin are available at this site, or they are available for being transacted at this site. Let's say it this way. And Harappans, of course, were consuming these items or these luxury items, so to say, and therefore that's the rationale for a site like Shortugai to be located little distant from the main Harappa land in the north, of course. And therefore, this is the range that we get to see. And as I told you before, that there also are sites in the run of Kutch, Dholavira, and several other sites we have already discussed earlier. They are also not very appropriate from the point of view of settlement for agrarian purposes, or even otherwise. We are not very sure what could be the state of affairs so far as the underground sweet water is concerned, whether they were also salty at that point of time and still people are living here. It doesn't seem likely. They must have been having access to sweet water source where wells could be dug, and that's why these sites are chosen even in the run. But from outside it appears to be little inhospitable, and yet there are Harappan sites there. So, the point that I am trying to make here is that the reasons could be located over and beyond agricultural appropriateness. It could be strategic, it could be trade importance, it could be manufacturing of some critical items, it could be procurement of some luxury items which are not available inside Harappa. And so, there is a variety of reasons and justifications that can be offered for, or that can be offered as rationale for the locational distinction of Harappan sites, and that's the point that we are trying to put across. Now, over and beyond this, since we are talking about settlement pattern, we don't have access to the script of Harappa. We haven't been able to decipher it. The corpus of Harappan script is also abysmally low, so there is not much that can be illuminated about Harappans from there. So, historians have to stretch their imagination and understand about the Harappan times with respect to the natural world of the Harappans. And the natural world of the Harappans, which of course can be gleaned through archaeology, can be reconstructed on the basis of very few items. For example, seeds that come embedded in soil or in some pottery or elsewhere. So, that is the floral resource that we have. Then there are bones which are symptomatic of the faunal resources. So, animal resources that are available to them, whether they were to what usages they were put to. These are the questions that historians and archaeologists put across to the items that they discover in archaeological excavations. And also there are some specimen of figurative art, and that also gives us some kind of a peep into their mind. So in terms of flora, what we get to see is that we have bamboo. Now bamboos are not indigenous to the greater Indus Valley. So it must be coming from somewhere, not from the mainland of what we know as Harappan area. So here again, as I had discussed with you earlier, that as a Bronze Age civilization, it is structurally dependent on trade and commerce and network and so forth. So bamboo, which is otherwise so ubiquitously present at Harappan sites, is not grown in the Harappan mainland, and perhaps it is being procured from elsewhere through trade, through some transportation, so forth. Similarly, we have shisham, which is again a kind of timber. People and people leaves are as a motif is used even in the pre-Harappan Neolithic context or early Harappan Neolithic context, and it continues to probably be a sacred item even during the mature phase of Harappan civilization. And interestingly, people wood charcoal has not been identified. So when we say people wood charcoal not identified, what it means that purposefully people tree was not burnt. And if purposefully people tree was not burnt, there could be some religious or some it could be regarded as some sacred tree. So there could be some notion held by people about the people tree or people leaves, and maybe that is why it could be a chance fact also, but it appears that there is something sacred about people tree that Harappans regarded. Similarly, teak is there as a timber, and teak couldn't be grown at Kalibangan. We have example of date palm, and in terms of faunal resources, we have peacocks, we have domestic foals, we have hare, squirrel, crocodile, deer, cattle, sheep, goat, cats, dogs, monkeys. Camel skeleton has been found at Mohenjo-daro. We all know that this area is abundant in terms of camels. Elephant bones are found at Banavali, rhino bones are found at Nausharo, antelope, tiger. So this is the range of animals that we get to see in Harappa. So overall, what we should conclude with reference to the distribution of sites in Harappa, with reference to what we discussed about the geographical, climatic, floral and faunal resources available to the Harappans, it seems that locational distribution of Harappan sites not totally explained by, or is not totally explained by, climatic conditions. So there should be something else that could have been the pushing factor so far as choice for a particular site for settling down over there is concerned. So there is some of the sites are arid, semi-arid, they register erratic rainfall. For example, in Sindh there is 65% of variability in terms of rainfall. There are inhospitable conditions across Makran coast, subsoil water being sweet or not sweet. These were the issues, and despite that there are sites which again tells us that one has to look over and beyond the climatic conditions and agricultural potential in order to understand the distribution pattern of sites or settlement pattern of Harappan sites. Thank you.